Thank you very much, Laska here. And Minister, you're very welcome to the House this evening. And I suppose at the outset of the I want to highlight, I suppose, the scheduling of this debate. And I'm just glad that my children have their father to look after them and put them to bed tonight, because we talk about trying to encourage diversity. We talk about trying to encourage young people, fat people, women into politics and coming into this House. And then we put on a debate at 8 o'clock at night until 10 o'clock. And I won't see my children until tomorrow night, if I do, until maybe till Friday. So we have to be real about this, and we're talking about childcare and the irony of this debate tonight at such a time. And it's not on your motion because you don't do the scheduling. But if we are real about it in these houses of the Oireachtas, if we are very much, and if we are serious about diversity and we're serious about women in politics or any sort of diversity at all, then we're going to have to start changing how we do our business, because this is nonsense. And God, if I was a lone parent, I could have me 4 children sitting in their pyjamas in the visitors gallery because I'd have no one else to have them. But needless to say, I'm always positive about talking about childcare and the importance of it, because with 4 children I know how important and how critical it is for childcare, for their learning, their socialisation with their friends and their community. I know my own wee fellas, and they've such friendships and love of their teachers and the people who work in the area, and that shows me the importance and the work that the women, usually women, and the workers, and the importance of them, how they treated my children and how they taught my children. And I have such a debt to the women who looked after my children, particularly in preschool. And I suppose which was rightly said in your speech, Senator Sherlock, was that the huge amount of funding. Like we have come from such a low base. Like we have 100 years of inaction. We have 100 years of just saying, "There, missus, there's your children, you mind them." And because of economic need or just blatant ambition by women of wanting to go out to work, the private sector pulled in, and we're dealing with the consequences. Our early years, our elder years, because the state didn't stand up, because the state said, "Well, women will do it," and women did do it. We farmed them out to private, and we are dealing with that problem now, and we're dealing with it very badly. We're dealing with it because it's bad consequences. I hope we're beginning to deal with it better, because we have made the biggest budget ever in the history of the state. We have reached the 1 billion milestone. That milestone 5 years ahead of schedule. I am not saying it is enough. I would absolutely agree with you, Senator, that we should be working towards universal childcare. We absolutely should. We need to be working towards this. We need to be working towards equality and equal access for every single child. My children didn't get equal access. I wasn't able to work because I wouldn't have been able to afford full-time care. They used the ETCHI scheme. They wouldn't have got into that if it wasn't for free. Myself and my partner had a cutter clot. He worked, I stayed at home. My ambitions were put on the table for a couple of years until I got into politics, and the irony of getting into politics and now not seeing my children hardly at all. But that is critical. It is so important that we do. And I was taking notes on points that you were raising, Senator. And it's hard to disagree. Supply. We need supply. And I've spoken to the Minister Gorman quite often on this, and to increase that capital programme. I know locally in County Louth, I know people are coming to me and going, right, I have two rooms here, I'm full, I could fill 2 more. If I can only get that capital programme, if I can only get that bit of money, I could have more, and I could have all the children in perfect, proper buildings. We really do need to incentivise and build the services, and they need to be state-owned services, absolutely. And we shouldn't be putting money into new private services, and I'm not sure if it's government policy, but this isn't my opinion, that we shouldn't be putting money into building private services. We put money into building public services, and make it part of the education system. I also think we should start working cross-departmental. You looked at it also, you know, from Minister, your portfolio, from disability services, from therapies, absolutely. Our children in early years need to be able to be, and that's the first part of call. Quite often, they're identified by our early years workers. They know their children. They see them every single day. Things that parents, you know, that we might miss because we see them, but they're trained. They know what to look out for. They know the markers. And to be able to signpost that off to therapies, absolutely. Again, I don't like the word, but this holistic, a circle of just looking after our child and every single needs. And we, you know, even we talk at, you know, our Department of Education, we have schools that are idle from 3 o'clock onwards. Idle, quite most of them, empty. And we have parents struggling to find after school care, struggling. We need to start incentivising. And I thought I had a lot longer to speak. I have so much to say about this, but I absolutely agree that we have to be very, very strong on pushing for further investment. I know, Minister, you're behind this, and I know the government is, because they've put their money where their mouth is, and they've put the biggest budget ever, and they will continue to do it. And with practical support and practical points, it'll get better.